Well, hello, creatives, community, and kind folks. Welcome to RPG with DBJ. I am your host, DBJ, and today, as always, we're going to talk for an hour plus. Just unscripted, mind fuel, inspiration, and that sort of thing. And I hope some of you can get some inspiration from today. We're going to talk about Obsidian Star, a free tabletop role playing game that I'm working on publicly, and I hope you're able to get some inspiration for your own creative process and. To try to give you an insight into how I create, so that either you could take examples from it or go like, this is exactly the kind of thing I will never do. All right, so today we're going to talk about the planet Mercury. So for those who do not know, this is a hard science fiction tabletop role-playing game. It takes place within our own solar system, simply called the sys, or the system, and or more professionally or officially known as the Copernican system or the Helios system. And uh, the vast majority of the planetary bodies in our own solar system have been populated by humanity. A trillion plus individual souls, as sometimes they're called, in public transportation, airlines, and air traffic, and aquatic traffic, and things like that. And the the idea behind this hard science fiction setting, and my goal was to not ignore the problems that come along with science fiction, and or to hand wave them away, but to actually make that a feature of the game. For example, having a trillion plus people, physical bodies living in this world. I don't know how many would be digital and on ice. Probably um, another 20, 25% more or whatever that are unaccounted for. It doesn't really matter. But there's a lot of things in science fiction that are hand waved on purpose and with good reason, mainly because some people who are designers and who are literary artists, some are into the plot, meaning the actual physical manifestation of the story, and others are into the drama of it. They're trying to portray a story, and so having to deal with microgravity and radiation and simple food and water and muscle atrophy kind of takes away from the actual story they're trying to portray. And so I get that, but in this instance, we are going to embrace those problems, and one of those um, situations involves Mercury. And Mercury is a political hotbed in this setting. And so, what I like to do is I'm an outline writer. So, when developing something, I like to break things down into smaller component parts. I take one part, split it in half, take those halves and split those into halves again, making them quarters. And that's the way I like to develop, in small chunks. And I love at least three. I like triangles so that I have at least three factions, stories, oppositions to each other, and odd numbers make for great drama because there can never be an equilibrium if all parties are against each other. And so Mercury is one of those. So um, with the sun being as large and heavy as it is, essentially it is a giant gravitational vacuum cleaner for our solar system. Yeah, Shice makes a good point. How do they get Mercury cool enough? They don't. They don't. This society is getting close to being a K1 society. For those who don't know, there's a Kardashev scale. Kardashev uh, sh- um, Kardashev scale, and I didn't think I'd be talking about this, but okay, cool. The Kardashev scale, Nikolai Kardashev created something, is a hypothet. It scales hypothetical and refers to the energy consumption on a cosmic scale. Various extensions of the scale have since been proposed, including a wider range of power levels and the use of metrics other than pure power. But in general, a type 1, a K1 civilization is able to access all the energy available on its planet and store it for consumption. Hypothetically, it should also be able to control natural events such as earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, etc. A K1 civilization essentially should be able to control the sunlight the planet receives, the hydrocarbons, the geothermal energy, that kind of thing, and have a good grasp on controlling it. A type 2 civilization can directly consume a star's energy, most likely through the use of a Dyson sphere, a Dyson Swarm, better known as a Dyson sphere. So basically, it's between, like, I would say, between a K1, K2 civilization, somewhere in there. And then a Type 3 civilization is able to capture all the energy emitted by its galaxy and every object within it, such as every star, black hole, etc. I think there's a huge jump between 2 and 3, but of course it goes up, because then after harnessing the whole galaxy, then it's the entire universe, then it's multiverses, and it moves on from there. So, and that's it's very hypothetical, and people have come across that, but Mercury is a step towards that. And with Mercury, for those who don't know, scientifically, Mercury spins. Uh, One half of Mercury is blasted by the sun. The other half, because it doesn't have an atmosphere, is frigid cold. And there's a terminus, a band around the planet that is in equilibrium. And it spins so slowly that someone could actually walk ahead of the sunrise without walking into the frozen darkness. Uh, supposing the ground was flat or devoid of too many hazards. That's Mercury, which is kind of cool. I think it is. Yeah. So, is this where transhumanism comes in to deal with the heat? Not necessarily. Well, they do, because there's a train. There's like a city train that moves around. Anyway, we'll talk about it. Hey, Taste. Hey, hey, hey. Finally got the Sarg open. What is that? You're gonna have to explain that to me. I love learning about other people and places and stuff. For if you meant to type that in, it's like it's like a commonality to you, and to me, it's something new. And I love learning little things like that, especially when it's something so benign and common to yourself. You're just like, no, it's just no big thing. Like oh, the sarcophs, yeah, the sarcophagus. You, you're so funny. Deadman says Mercury goes from 300 Celsius during the daytime to negative 300 during the night, with the day-night boundary being the easiest to colonize with rovers constantly moving. Damn it, you got ahead of me. Always get ahead of me. So that's the one thing. Mercury, there the idea of colonizing, not necessarily colonizing Mercury, the colonization came later. The idea was to take Mercury apart and use it to make a Dyson swarm. Okay, solar panels, um, uh, giant sun-powered lasers, which is a big deal, and so Mercury would be the closest thing to it. The the issue is, and very pie in the sky is, if you can harness all the power of the sun, who gets to get that power? And so it began with this great idea, because after people left Earth, for those who don't know, Terra, Earth, known as Terra in this world, Terra and Luna, um, there's space elevators, there's an orbital ring. One of the largest, greatest, most successful mega projects ever to have been happened during the Great Utopia. I don't know if that's the name of that era, but everybody was like, we need to get the hell off this planet. And it was the first time humanity came together and left the planet with, or within space elevators and orbital rings. And the next step was, let's go to Mercury. The problem with great power, I'm going to say it, comes great responsibility. And with that great power, who gets to get that power? And if that power is great enough and infinite enough, how can you rationalize not giving it away? And That's where the big problem came in, because everybody and their mom wants a chunk of these solar cells, these solar panels and mirrors that are being built. No, they haven't been able to get around the sun, but slowly and surely they're being uh, scraped off the surface of Mercury and produced and put out into space. And beaming this energy out and storing it is a great endeavor. But everybody wants their chunk of it. We'll get into some other stuff too. Also, the sun produces solar flares, and like our own oceans on Earth, the sun really hasn't been explored. How it works, how is it? Can you predict solar flares? Which there is kind of a weather service that predicts tries its best to predict solar flares and radiation bursts and solar winds and things of that nature. So Mercury is like a weather station. It's also a um, production service for making solar panels and making them hundreds of thousands of kilometers long, stretching in all directions, pushing them into an orbit around the sun and that sort of thing. And while that sounds cool, there's even more problems on Mercury. So we'll get into our third portion. So we have our science engineers that really are pushing for this K2 civilization of a Dyson swarm. We have the late the sun is a gravity assist generator by sending things around the sun and slingshotting them, and along with the laser assist process. That's number two. And then the political ramifications of it, where we get all of our political incestuousness going on, and backstabbing and assassinations and that kind of thing. And that's kind of our third leg. So Shai says, like, if you just keep your brain in a zipper machine that's impervious to radical temperature fluctuations. Oh, there's a lot of that going on. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Putting like zipping your brain into a machine that can tolerate the temperature differences. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Lots of the scientific engineering that goes uh, on Mercury and off of Mercury as they are pushing things into locations. There are substations scattered all throughout the solar panel system, being monitored by giant crab or spider like machines, that because they're constantly being battered by micro meteors, because the sun is like a vacuum cleaner. Most interstellar debris that gets pulled in from the Oort cloud actually misses most of the planetary surfaces. Yes, it strikes a lot of. That's why the moon is cratered and Mercury is cratered and things like that. Those craters come from impacts, but the vast majority of that stuff actually misses and gets sucked up right into the sun. And unfortunately, the more solar panels they make, the more they keep getting impacted and pop through, so they have to keep repairing them. Yeah, no, no. Yeah, the Ed King's like, Mercury isn't at all related to the chemical we have on Earth, right? The liquid metal that can turn people crazy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no relation. So there's the planet Mercury, and then there's and then there's also, let's see if we get some images here. So there's the planet Mercury, and there's the mer, chemical Mercury. Uh, Although I do wonder, um, well, of course, there's also the Greek. The There's a relationship to this. So the Greek mythology, Greek myth, Mercury, Hermes, Mercury. Cool, cool, cool. I I don't. Why do I not think of these things ahead of time? So, there, much like you guys know that I'm pretty horrible when it comes to these kind of things. When coming up with these alliterations and commonalities and things of that nature, using one word to mean many different things, and I think Mercury kind of fits into that category. So here we go. Y'all sun explanation. Oh, been out. Bennett, you're hilarious. Yes, vampires would not like sun exploration at all, and I wonder what they would be like in deep space. Hmm. Vampires, werewolves. I wonder. Hmm. Yeah, we could call sun explorers solar punks. Yeah, yeah. Solar punkism is a little bit different than what we're thinking, but yes, sun exploration is highly overrated. You guys, your your dark mysteriousness. I am the shadow. I am the darkness. I am the night. I am the dark knight. So these are images for those who are watching. These are images of the planet Mercury, and there have been times I actually found out that there's plenty of times where the planet Mercury is misinterpreted as the moon because big giant airless ball, um, impact craters, and that sort of thing. So there are a lot of these are like you look at them and you're like, what? Wait a minute, is one of these the moon and one is which? How do you know? How do you tell? One of the ways to tell that I found out is that it you when you get the images and they analyze the photography, you'll see like a blue orange scale on the airless surface from when the photographs are done. So you'll either get the black and white, which you're like, I can't tell whether that's Mercury or the moon, or you'll get those that blue orangey surface thing. And so when the sun is up on Mercury, it blasts the damn thing. I dare say, I'm sure it doesn't look like this, but I dare say it reminds me of the what's the second Pitch Black movie? Shit, I can't remember it. But anyway, there's a prison on a planet that's basically like that, too close to the sun, and so at night it's very cold, but during the day you got to outrun the the sunrise before you get blasted. And Mercury is kind of like that, although it doesn't. While in science fiction we would love to have to outrun the sunset, on Mercury you can actually walk faster or maybe jog faster than it. But then we also have the element Mercury, the kind of quicksilver, and while the element isn't really on Mercury, the idea that there is a social element to the quicksilver of Mercury. People who are poisonous, who are slick in the way they talk and act and things like that. So very much there's a socio-political element to people who now reside on Mercury who aren't engineers and who aren't scientists and who aren't people who are trying to push the world into a K2 civilization. These are all of our favorite. Pick your favorite politician, and their lobbyists or whoever would be there as well. And then we have ourselves the god Mercury, uh, mythology. Mercury, Hermes, the messenger, the trickster, the one who sends carries messages from one to the other gods on Mount Olympus, and Mercury is like that. So why is Mercury has yeah, Chronicles of Riddick. Thank you there, Dead Man. Thank you so much. Drew, boom boom. I love it. A big airless ball. um please Manscape, please come and pay me money to endorse your product. It would fit in perfectly well here with the airless balls in our own solar system. I like that, N King. Yeah. If I wanted to put vampires and werewolves in your setting, I would rip off Underworld. Yeah, just say that there are mutations or a result of a scientist. Yeah, and there was another series known as they called them hemophages. Ultraviolet was the movie, and there were sci-fi vampires. They were hemophages. Always have to have the punk. Solar post punks, or better yet, no wave, solar post punks, solar art core, solar post punks, sonic solar youth. Exactly. You go deep into the solar punk art core, yeah. But yeah, our Chronicles of Riddick had the prison planet, and they actually brought back a character that, to me, strangely enough, had a pretty good s- secondary character, pretty good arc. The young girl that was revealed to be a young girl in the first Pitch Black movie, shaved head, thought he was a boy, really young girl, um, grows up to and joins Riddick to escape. Yep. Andrew Yang would do some awesome transhumanism. I've heard Andrew Yang talk many times. Big proponent of UBI, Universal Basic Income, and things like that. We're getting there. So, why is Mercury a political hotbed? Well, when you have when you have an overabundance of power, energy, scientists, engineers working somewhere, someone wants to. When you have power, comes from being able to disseminate resources. The person who gets to let people, who gets to decide who gets to eat, who gets to drink, who gets to live somewhere, that's where power comes from. And every faction in the solar system has someone representing themselves on Mercury. So um, the idea that why would Mercury become a political hotbed is because, much like people who storm into supermarkets on Black Friday here in the States to all get the latest toy or something. It's not really so much the rage anymore, but you get the point. Is that everybody who's anyone who represents any faction, any habitat, any government, any organization, criminal organizations, um, uh, individual people who are isolates, the isolated ones that are out there in their own havens, they want to know what the hell's going on Mercury. And one of the biggest reasons is because there are giant, and when I say giant, I'm talking massive megastructures that are lasers that are powered by the sun. And those lasers are used for a number of reasons. Now, we think of lasers like laser bombardments, like Star Trek and Star Wars and things like that. Not quite on that level, but those lasers blast stellar debris, and those lasers also can push with enough light, because light acts like a wave and a particle. Light can push against reflective surfaces. So the more luminosity a object has, meaning it's reflective, it it reflects sunlight, and in the visual spectrum, the more you can push on it with enough light, and a laser is concentrated light. Mercury from Chronicles of Riddick was crematoria. That's that's right, because Riddick was a known from a race known as the Furians. I honestly, I think the Riddick series would make a great RPG. I'm surprised that Vin Diesel hasn't created his own, or contracted out his own tabletop role playing game, and because he's an executive producer of that series, he owns that series. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The UBI was just a selling point for the lazy fucks. Yeah, you can also spell that with PHUQ if you like as well. But there is a little bit of that. Although I could see UBI coming along, but I hate the idea because there's growing pains are going to separate us into very violent categories, I could say, of society. What? Who would want to? People are stupid. Who would want to dip their cigarette in mercury and smoke it? And isn't mercury highly flammable? because I don't think you want to. I don't think you want to inhale mercury gas. But then again, people are pretty ignorant. Um, Shice like noted. Yes, yeah, oh yeah. That's exactly right. The UBI is in preparation. Is it says anyway, the UBI was necessary for the robot replacement preparation. Yes, universal basic income, or it's known as other things as well. But yeah, as there are fewer places for us for humanity to even find work, or which means we either have to artificially create work for people to do, or we need something for humanity to do when they're not doing anything, and one of those is being a consumer. Strangely enough, being a consumer helps society. So if you just give people money, those people that are given money will spend it. um, I know. I can hear you. Relax, because if you just hand people money, they're going to spend it on the most ridiculous things, most self-destructive things you could ever think of. They're going to waste it, and that's a good thing for the rest of us, not for them and the people around them, but for the rest of us. Yes. Ooh, she is headed off. Uh, yeah, he should. And King says, yeah, he should make a Vin Diesel tabletop RPG. You race cars, you fight space worms on a desert planet, and you snowboard as a super agent. Yep. The only character classes are all the characters that Vin Diesel ever played. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm gonna say goodbye to my wife. She's headed off to work. She normally works from home, but she's gonna head out. So if you see me say goodbye, don't worry about it. Saying goodbye. Vin Diesel has worked on. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. All right, so the reason I didn't know that he worked on a Chronicles of Riddick RPG. I had never, and I remember looking for it too. Oh, the Last Witch Hunter, or was it the Witch Hunter? Something like that. He also did a movie that didn't work too well as well at either. Um, but the reason why there's an influx of lobbyists and political arguments is because these giant mega lasers that push are used to blast debris, or at least push it out of the way, large stellar objects, and accelerate spacecraft that are slingshotting around the sun. So if you can get your very large and very important spacecraft, your starship, you extend your solar sails out and you arrange to get the laser assist push, and it can push you out to the farthest reaches of our own solar system very quickly, very fast, with essentially theoretically free energy. And so you don't have to use the ice fire engines to burn off that hydrogen and oxygen, liquid hydrogen and oxygen that you have gathered. You could just arrange to have your flight um, laser pushed. And but those lasers can also be aimed at people, and so nobody wants it aimed at themselves, which, similar today, like having nuclear weapons, no one wants to have any nuclear weapon at all aimed at them, but everybody wants it for themselves, because the simplest thing would be, like nuclear energy, not everyone agreeing that we shouldn't use it at all and have it at all for weapons. But that's not the case, right? No one's going to say, "Hey, let's get rid of all the weapons." That'll never happen. Everybody's going to want to have one in their back pocket, literally and figuratively. So the same goes for the solar panel system, the laser beaming energies, because you could take that energy and turn it into microwaves and things of that nature and beam it. You get that damn near free energy. Taste, oh, you're so funny. Yeah. Yeah, he sure bragged about it. Yeah, I can't remember what movie. It was really he played a, mobster, if I can remember correctly. I can't remember the name of the movie. Mm. Yeah, yeah. Let me put this up here. Yeah, we'll have to do a stream about that. Kind of diverge away from the science fiction part of it, and talk about our different countries that we're from, because I think that'd be kind of cool. We'll have to do, maybe I'll one day do like a Saturday or a Sunday stream or something like that, and just and just talk openly. Like, we love to have here in the States, we love our garbage disposals that are in the sink, that that scare the living daylights out of people in places that don't normally have them. I love my garbage disposal. So anyway, the the getting back to Mercury here, I would say there are probably um almost, well, maybe double digit millions of individuals living on Mercury now, and many of them, many of those individuals that are living in and around Mercury are part of. They are either a part of the political machine. So whenever you have one or more politicians, you have all of their entourage, and then with that entourage, you have all of the the accoutrement that is attached to all of the entourage and the lobbyists and the lawmakers and the interest groups and the, we got to get to the dark side of it, right? All of when someone's ego is one in which to become a politician, to represent people politically, you have to think of yourself in very high regard, that I am the best one that's available and no one else is as good as me. And you start smelling yourself, you start smelling your armpits, like, yeah, I am the best, aren't I? And so you have to have people who surround you that are stroking your ego, that maybe some would have others that are speaking in their ear, letting them know, what was the Roman emperor that had a person speaking to his ear to let him know that he was just a mere mortal, um, that you are no more than a normal human being. So Yeah, Caligula says garbage disposals in the sink are the envy of every German. They make it so easy to cripple yourself so you can collect social aid and never have to work again. Um, Only if it were that easy. Though garbage disposals have safeties on them, but yeah, no one in their right mind wants to reach their hand down into a garbage disposal, even though things fall down in there relatively easily. Yeah, that emperor sounds awesome. I don't know. How do I search this up? Let's see. Um, Roman emperor who had uh who had person speak in his ear. You are only mortal. Um, Marcus Aurelius. The story goes that Marcus Aurelius hired an assistant to follow him as he walked through the Roman town square. The assistant's only role was to, whenever Marcus Aurelius was praised, whisper in his ear, "You're just a man." Yeah, I had Latin and that kind of Greek Roman history in school, and I remember being really impressed by it. It made a great impression on me, and I remember hearing that these stories. I'm mixing them all together in my head. You guys know that, but yeah, yep, Marcus Aurelius. Yep, yep, yep. I wonder if that would work even today. Why am I not sharing this tab? I hit it. Why is it not? Okay, finally. Wow, that was very slow. That's a great advisor. Yeah, that's the only. Now, to have someone have the wherewithal, the foresight to hire someone that makes that their only job. If you think about it, that person that had that job right there, to speak in that in Marcus Aurelius's ear, was very important. Like, might have had a cushy job, but like, we need you. Yeah, shit lures. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. Yeah, it only works if you hamburger your hands at work. Yeah. Yep, yep. There you go. That's funny there. Yeah, gotta get me a "You're Just a Man" whisperer too. Might help with the delusions of grandeur inherent in being awesome. Yeah, I'm too awesome. I'm gonna have to go to the go to the bring me down to earth store. Buy me an assistant. That's awesome. But yes, that's so in my world building, it, and just taking Mercury as one of the 8 known planets, although there's it's funny because we demoted Pluto as a planet because it's just like a dwarf planet in many ways. It's been demoted, but in my discoveries, there's so much more about the planets and the rocky bodies and gas bodies that exist in our solar system that I'm very impressed. And Mercury happens to be one of them. So uh, think of Mercury as um, think of Mercury as any place that you're familiar with that is the central part of government. Here in the United States, here stateside, we would think of this as Washington D.C. That that you have these cities, and many. I'll talk about the crawler cities and the railroad cities and things like that. But Mercury is our Washington D.C. and whatever political haven there is that you're thinking of worldwide. That is what Mercury is. And strangely enough, this is the most chaotic governmental system non-official governmental system in existence in this setting that actually works. So while it acts kind of like a United Nations, there's no official governing body that rules Mercury and how the legal system works in a solar system. It's basically a bunch of flooded by a bunch of people who all have their own interests and who are all trying to bargain and treaty with each other and bribe and threaten and assassinate and cajole and get blackmail on and all that kind of stuff. It's all of that wrapped together in an unofficial political soup, miasma of sorts. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you there, bit out. Yeah, to hell with all the Pluto debutters. Just they should have named the planet Hades. Exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Mercury is the swamp. Hell yeah. Hell's yes, and a necessary one too, because like I said, no one wants those lasers pointed at them. Everyone wants the power. Nobody wants to get blasted out in the space. And the sun is all they have to do is aim the laser at your hab, and eventually, you know, I'm. I think the science of a laser powered by the sun aimed at, say, a hab on a moon orbiting Saturn. I don't think it would be like a big red laser that would just blast the hab. It would probably, um, in a short amount of time, boil the place. But I like the idea of one big giant laser just blasting it. After 37 minutes, your place will be blasted when they fire a bolt of laser at your hab and blast it out of the sky. So nobody wants that, but everybody wants the free power, and also everyone wants to be able to use the sun to slingshot around. And if you're a Mercury, you could kind of, if you wanted to, you could superimpose yourself on those starships trying to sling around the sun if you really wanted to, toll roading, as it were. So that's also a thing. So getting your starships pushed out to the outer reaches and things like that. So yes, it is definitely the swamp. Absolutely. Now, um, to further get an image of the world building, politicians like to look good, and if you look good, you like to feel good, and this the most people having we know, despite the fact that it's pretty ridiculous, when we see political ads, especially here in the states, you've got the perfect suntan, you got the smiles, and a very common thing is to take the long walk on Mercury. Now, Mercury um, has a number of different types of settlements. Some of them are built underground so that during the day they can close up the hatches, and then towards night they can open them up to expel the heat off of them. And those are pretty much the underground halves are pretty much for the working class, the blue collar people that are out there um, producing these solar panels and solar cells and things like that. But for those who are rich and powerful, all your politicians, they live in mobile cities that actually travel along the terminus of Mercury. And there is the largest city is actually a train that's 5, 6, 7 stories tall. Think of them like an image would be like a cruise ship, but dozens of cruise ships in a long line, and it travels around the equator of Mercury, just fast enough that you can actually get out of it and walk as fast as this city moves. No, no, we'll talk about it. No, 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 no. Most of the politicians uh, are are suntanned individuals with great smiles who go outside, take photographs of them standing on Mars' actual airless atmosphere in their spacesuits, definitely clear enough helmets, standing there with themselves and maybe their family and their entourage to prove to and live streaming, proving to the rest of their constituents that yes, they are on Mercury, bargaining for their best interests, like politicians do, right? And speaking to them as if they are there to make sure things are changed and ensuring that the power of these laser assist systems are not in the hands of their enemies, but in their hands, so that I don't want to use it as a weapon, but I'm going to make sure it's never used against us. And so, yeah, 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 yeah. They are soul brothers. Yes. SOL. They are sun kissed. Excuse me. She's almost about to get out of here. Uh, Is there anybody in Obsidian Starverse who still takes politicians seriously? Unfortunately, yes. I think even in today's the reason why I say there would be is because there's still people that do that today. Even today, there are people who I often say that some people consider their politics their religion, um, at least as far as it comes from here in the states. That there are people who feel like their political candidate is um, up on a pedestal, divine, even given over to perfection levels of which have never been birthed before. And I think that's crazy. But there are people who are like that. Anon, thank you very much for even stating that. So Anonymous says, the most ironic thing about space warfare is how the most effective form of attack is simply throwing rocks at each other, just like we started out with. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yes. The cavemen throwing rocks and using multi-trillion-dollar machines to just throw rocks, right? Just bigger rocks, but they're just throwing rocks at each other. And I absolutely agree with you. I love it. Yeah, 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 yeah. And the same goes for here. Same thing here. So, Tay says, so you created reasons. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you created reasons for politicians to pretend they're still relevant. Pretty clever. Um, you guys know I'm a more of a positive person, but it doesn't mean I'm dumb. And one of the things that I like to uh, there's a dark side to us and humans and humanity, and I like to make things relatable even though they are in the future, I imagine that those things would be relatable. And so, yes, politicians smiling for the camera, walking along the surface of Mercury, talking about how they are working for their community, whatever habit is, or something like that. Uh, Even in the future, is still a thing. Um, Despite the fact that the entire time they're planning on the assassination of the people they don't like, um, accidents keep happening on Mercury. Oops. Um, if you really, really, really want to have power, someone tries to make that trip to Mercury so that they too can be filmed standing on the surface of Mercury with the sun behind them. I believe it's estimated if you were standing on the surface of Mercury with my very surface level investigation, that the sun is 10 to 13 times the size it would be standing on Earth. So Mercury isn't in the corona of the sun. It's actually much further out than that, but it's still pretty big. So yeah, yeah. Yep. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, never underestimate their ability to make up new reasons why it's important for anybody to get off their asses and vote. Absolutely. And oh, wait a minute. Caligulus, and I know you meant to put this in there, to only vote in the manner in which they decide that you vote. So yeah, open and honest and free voting, except for, with a big asterisk. Yeah. Shai says, walking on the surface of Mercury, and yet they're not brains and machine bodies, but actual flesh and blood humans. Yes, because of arrogance. There's no reason for them to be that way. It's arrogance. It is a symbol of the continuation of humanity. So that's what that is. So it is the embodiment of uh, like a what like a, not just a politician. I'm thinking of other people, like a CEO, or like the um soapbox mega church preachers, like who are some other big, powerful, arrogant individuals, even like the most powerful of actors in Hollywood, like these individuals have a all of them have a commonality amongst them on Earth today, right? There is this uh, healthiness of the flesh, um, a propensity to show off, um, how rich they are, and because people who are downtrodden think of themselves that I will one day be like them, that I will be embraced by those people who are rich and arrogant and powerful, and I will be blessed to be in their aura and just get a 10% of what they have. And the same thing goes for these people that are on Mercury, um, kowtowing, the bending knee to their constituents and things like that. So same thing goes here. So yeah, they're flesh and body. Now all their assistants and all the people who are the engineers and stuff that are not part of that, they just shake their heads like really, because we are the real movers and shakers. You wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for us trying to push ourselves into a K2 society, and they're just surrounded by parasites. You know, 500,000 parasites with another 3, 4, 5, 6 million other individuals who are their family, friends, and the people who keep the machine supported. All the food services, all of the fashion, all of the travel, the vacation spots, the dark corners where they start making backdoor deals with each other and that kind of stuff. So very much so. So that's how Mercury became a airless, know nothing planet to a political hotbed. And the reason how I got there was I started. I'm not sure what I was watching or listening to, but this came over dozens of years. But um, power doesn't just come from someone who is able to organize people, like, someone who's very charismatic, but where we you often hear in procedural TV shows, they'll say, "We don't know who committed this crime," and they'll say, "Follow the money." And money is just another form of resource. Where do the resources go? Who gets to decide where the resources go? And in world building, I find that if you're someone who is able to divert those resources, that's a that is a point of conflict in which politics could happen. It doesn't have to be politics. It could be crime. That's where the Jovian system comes in. It could be it could be ice and water that is necessary, hydrogen and oxygen, which is necessary for life. That's where Saturn comes in. These places, the asteroid belt with rare earth elements like platinum and iridium and gold and tin and aluminum and all this kind of stuff. Oh no, shit, Lord, see, maybe I did. Maybe I did do that. So, yeah, if I find that wherever resources go, if you put a pin in the resource, if let's go all the way back to fantasy D20 fantasy tabletop role playing games, right? Where does the water flow? And if you find where water flows, rivers, where the rivers, the waterfalls, where does the water flow to? You'll find that that's where you're going to get conflict. Um, Safe harbors where shipping lanes can go into and out of. Wherever you find that, you can, if you put a pin in it, that's where you can get conflict. Politicians, criminals, warlords, nobles, things like that. How about farming, fantasy? You have farming and food. So wherever grains and rices and things like that, where's the food go? How does the food get distributed? Boom, that's where the conflict comes in. And when I say conflict, what I mean is that the having three an odd number, having three, five, seven factions want to have access to it, including the factions that want to give it away for free, right? Because there's going to be another faction that says, "Please don't do that." We, there here in the States, someone created the cure for polio, and that was the last time we will ever see a free cure given out for any reason, for any pandemic disease ever. um, Polio vaccine given out for free. Let's see. Yeah, history of polio. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Polio existed in prehistoric times. I remember those iron lung machines that were supposed to help people breathe and such. And let's see if I can. Let's see. Mm-mm-mm. And who was the gentleman? A breakthrough occurred in 1949 when the polio virus was successfully cultivated in human tissue by John Enders, Thomas Weller, and Frederick Robbins at Boston Children's Hospital. Their pioneering work was recognized with the 1954 Nobel Prize. Bunch of individuals, Canada, Finland. Uh, a guy named Salk, Salk, was committed to equitable access to his vaccine and understood that elimination efforts would not work without universal low or no cost vaccination. 6 pharmaceutical companies were licensed to produce IPV, and Salk did not profit from sharing the formulation or production process. In a 1955 interview, when asked who owned the patent for IPV, he replied, "Well, the people. I would say there is no patent. Could you patent the sun?" Yeah, that'll never happen again. The next time that happens, that person's gonna unfortunately suffer. I don't know. Brakes are going to go out on their car or something. It's pretty horrible. Yeah, walking on the surface of Mercury, and yet they're not brains and machine bodies, but actual flesh and blood humans. Absolutely. Yeah. Caligula says, "Well, this is hard sci-fi, so there's going to be that kind of stuff." Yeah, absolutely. Well, here's another reason too. When we start, those of us that consider ourselves to be armchair game designers, one of the things that we can get lost in the weeds, lost in the sauce, in a way, is we start creating, but we don't create space for players to do things. So we create spaces for things to have happened, but we don't create places for things to happen currently today. And I want to see player characters, um, bribe, cajole, steal, convince, save, rescue, build, destroy, sabotage, and have reasons to do all those things. So in the back of my mind, I want to have players act as to do something on these in this sci-fi setting. So on Mercury, could they be engineers or pilots or bodyguards or diplomats and envoys? Could they be visitors? And are there important missives they need to gather, or be part of a coronation, or walking on the surface of Mercury for whatever reason, dumbass reason you'd have to do that? Yes. So that's in the back of my mind too. So it's not just being creative, but creating space for players to come in and play with the toys in the sandbox, as it were. So and Anon says, so the resource Mercury has is status. Yes, I would dare say yes. Um, 3, that's the magic number. Yeah, so Mercury's actual resource could very well be status. And like the Greek god Mercury, Hermes sending messages, those messages are broadcast from Mercury to other people and places around our solar system, as if to say, I'm in control. They're not going to eliminate us with their rhetoric and their machines, and we need to put a stop to these machines, that or make sure these machines will never be used against us. Blah blah blah, mouths moving, but a lot of words but that don't mean much. Yes, very much so. Very, very much so. Yeah, 357. Yep, odd numbers. Yeah, so what's the obsidian space polio? I don't I haven't come up with that one yet. Sorry. Yeah, Obsidian FDR to usher in secret socialism. Well, we've had not so secret socialism here in the States that no one wants to agree with anyway. So we have police and fire and trash pickup and sewers and access to water and libraries and um, medical care, at least emergency rooms and things like that. So yeah, people forget that a lot of that stuff is paid for with public money for good reason. Now that Shitlord says, now that you mention it, hard sci-fi would give good opportunities to sneak on real world stuff and make the woke mob mad, so you you can get canceled. Surefire recipe for success. Unfortunately, despite your efforts there, I am heading down that direction. For example, I just realized that there's yet another option in this hard sci-fi setting that places yet another character option into the "you were just built to be a slave" um, concept, and those are the Atons. Dude, that's not social. Never mind. Yeah, we have Social Security, and we also have Medicare and Medicaid, and a lot of these things already exist that people are afraid are going to exist. I'm like, you do realize that like our highway system is paid for with public monies, so yeah. Although, oh, what's the novel? Damn it. Mm, hero protagonist. Okay, I'm gonna find this. Sorry. Hero protagonist. Yes, I meant hero protagonist. What is the name of the movie? Snow Crash. There's a great sci-fi novel, very very satirical. It's got one of the most engaging first chapters of a book you will ever read. And yes, there is a character who goes by the name of Hero Protagonist. Um, so anyway, Hero Protagonist, a character in Snow Crash. Yeah, Snow Crash. Yeah, I would love to see that in a done expertly in a live action. Just this character who delivers pizzas in 30 minutes or else. Anyway, in the book, there are highway systems, and there are multiple highway systems that you pay for. And some highway systems are cost more to get on those highways, and so you get to choose, but you got to pay for it, and you pay for everything. You basically pay for everything, including what prison and jail you go to. It's a good point, Lord. One off-color remark in an interview, and DBJ could become the dream machine of RPGs and put a scene star on the map. Yeah, listen, I'm sure there's some misspoken words on these live streams that someone will take out of context, given the agenda they're thinking of. So yes, so you know, uh, there is a character option known as Autons, AUTON, autonomous machines, and you can play a humanoid Auton. Uh, Autons are literally autonomous. They are not linked to the internet, called the tapestry or the weave. I haven't decided which one I'm going to call it. Doesn't matter. Lattice, something like that. Anyway, um, Autons, some of the last Autons to come off the assembly line were created to help alleviate our solar system from fourth war machines. And so at some point, I'm linking all this together. So remember, a while ago I talked about the Kessler syndrome, and basically people just call it Kess. It's debris that's floating around gravity locations, and it's debris and micro debris that blast through starships and things like that. Now, of course, we think of Kessler syndrome around Earth and giant bodies, but in space battles, I imagine that there would be lots of debris that will eventually get absorbed or circle around a lot of these bodies, but that debris is still going to be out there, and lots of it, in a big intergalactic war. And so our solar system doesn't have intergalactic combat any longer, because we already had the fourth war. World War III already happened on Earth, whatever, forgotten. Then we go into fourth war, and fourth war happened in space. And that Kessler, the Kess, is something that everybody said we can't do that again. And so Autons were created to stop, not only to pick up the debris, but there's lots of machines, automated machines out there ready to start the war again. And like removing landmines. And so they were yeah, autonomous automatons. Yes. Yeah, autonomous automations. Yeah, and anyway, tongue tying. And yes, absolutely. And they were created to basically be disposable. Hey, you machine, go over there and pick up that landmine. Oops, it exploded. Okay, second machine, go pick up the body of your friend and continue your job. Yeah, hell's yeah. Yeah, gonna be a great future rap star, Dave. Hell yeah. Yeah, we got to selectively edit your thousands of hours of live streams and make you sound like for Harlem so you can get famous. Thank you. I bet an AI could probably do it. I don't think you'd want to do it by hand, but I bet an AI system could probably edit me down to, like, I don't know, 38 seconds of a TikTok thing of me just saying the most outrageous things. I'm going to ask you guys to do it. Take 1,000 hours of live stream and edit it down to like a bunch of 30-second TikTok videos. That would be that's a lot of computing power, but It would be pretty awesome to do that. Maybe I wonder if there's a. I'm not going to look that up right now, but I will find it. What if autons were programmed to be even more autonomous than humans? That's actually really good. Shit lords volunteering somebody. Yeah. Yeah. What if autons were programmed to be even more autonomous than humans? Uh, I'm assuming you're saying that in relation to that actually would be really good. Not related to any government or program or pre-programmed behavior like children being raised or no connection to any kind of culture or political system or economics or something. I like that. Yeah, we just started there, Kylie. Sorry, you came at the end of here. Sorry. So anyway, guys, we are coming to the end. I'm going to say goodbye to my lovely wife. She's going to head off to work, and I got to go go that way too. So, guys, thank you very much for letting me speak on a know nothing planet, Mercury, closest to the sun, and turning it into a world building thing. And I hope you guys are able to open up uh, the flower of your imagination when it comes to some of these empty spaces in your world and make them important. So, guys, have a great one. I will see.